you know that every word you speak matters? Are your conversations making a difference? With a passion for words and a heart for conversation, Teresa Velardi is a self-professed word nerd, best-selling author, BizCat 360 columnist, and publisher. Children's books as well as fiction and nonfiction books are welcomed at We Be Books Publishing and Book Endeavors, the imprints of her company, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Whether written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velardi.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Conversations That Make a Difference. I am Teresa Velardi, and you can watch this show every Tuesday, 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in and video shows every first and third Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. You can listen live on Syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network, online, mobile, in your cars, on YouTube, and by asking Alexa, play Dream Vision 7 radio network. Get your apps. And to learn more about the full schedule, you can go to dreamvision7radio.com. And I am so excited to have two wonderful guests with me today, Eileen Bild and PJ Dixon. But before we get started, as you know, we usually start with a prayer, and I start with the serenity prayer. This world needs prayer these days. So let's do this together. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the thing I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I want to say it is also by God's grace that we are fabulous, blessed, and highly favored, living in our greatness, using our gifts and talents, making a difference in the lives of others with passion and purpose, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. And we gratefully say, amen. So let me introduce our guests today. Eileen Bild has been here before. Eileen is CEO of Ordinary to Extraordinary Life and OTEL Universe. She's the executive director of the ROKU channel, developer, founder of the Core Thinking Blueprint Method, OTEL Talk show host, and Breakthrough S.P.A.R.K coach. We'll talk about what that is. She's a published author and internationally syndicated columnist. Eileen teaches mindfulness meditation, mindfulness leadership, validation communication skills, and leadership skills. She works with purpose-driven professionals, celebrities, and executives to spark the next step by helping to re-engineer the brain while upgrading thinking to a new level. As part of a power couple, Eileen and her husband, Trevor, offer a platform with their ROKU channels for people to have a voice to share their passions, their visions, their dreams, bringing a 360-degree view of life. Welcome, Eileen.
Thank you, Teresa. It's awesome to be back.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. And you have a great story. So you are definitely living life fearlessly, especially with all those things you have going on as well. Also, we have PJ Dixon. PJ is an international speaker and success strategist who focuses on results. Despite his disability, which was expected to take his life by the age of 7, he chose to live and live well, and he certainly does. PJ truly lives an extraordinary life. This man goes sailing, outdoor skydiving, indoor skydiving, trapezing, ziplining, hiking, mountain climbing, snow skiing, water skiing, aqua jetting, and the list goes on. He's a former wheelchair athlete, international traveler, amateur watercolorist, try and say that 3 times fast, founder of 2 nonprofit organizations and 4 disabled sports programs, a published author, a 10th degree black belt, martial arts and women's self-defense instructor, and meditation teacher. Additionally, PJ has been inducted into the National Hall of Fame for People with Disabilities, awarded the Distinguished Gold Dragon Medal from the Bujinkan, did I say that right? International Dojo. He's been recognized with the Extreme Rare Communication and Leadership Award from Toastmasters International and was nominated to carry the Olympic torch through Tucson in 2002. That's quite the list, PJ. Welcome. We're going to be talking about a lot of that stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm really glad to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. And when I was talking to Eileen about the show, living fearlessly is something that people need to be able to do in this day and age. This world is a different place than it was even 10 years ago, and life is changing every day. But I think that a lot of people have you either choose faith or you choose fear. That's my opinion. So, and I know that the two of you have cast fear to the wind and are living your best life. So I want to start with PJ. Let's talk a little bit about your journey. I mean, tell me a little bit about how you chose to live after you were diagnosed that you may not have lived past the age of 7. And yet here you are. I'm not going to say how many years later, but here you are. So let's talk about your journey a bit.
Okay, well, if we go way back in the day, when I was a little guy, at 4 years old, I'm standing there at the fence crying, and my mom looks out and sees me crying, and she comes outside and she says, "What's wrong? Are you okay? Why are you crying?" And I was watching all of my friends get on their school bus and go off to school, and I said, "I want to go to the school, Mommy." And she said, "Okay." I mean, I was a year early. It was a year early, right? So she took me to the doctor and she said, "Can I send my son to school?" And they said, "If you do, he'll be dead by 2nd grade." That's 7 years old. And my mom took a breath and she said, "Well, it's his life and he gets to make the decision for him on what he wants to do." And she said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to go to school." And she said, "Okay." So then around 9 and 10, I, already living 2 and 3 years longer than I was supposed to, my mom said, or I would yell in the morning, I would get myself dressed with my little leg braces and my little pants, my little shoes, little shirt. I mean, not much bigger than I am now, or much smaller than I am now. And I would yell to my mom, "Okay, Mom, I'm ready for you to button and zip me and tuck me in." And she would yell back, "Okay, I'm busy. You keep trying." And I would say, "Okay." And then while I would literally be lying on the floor, rolling left and right and trying to get the right leverage to push my shirt into my pants and zip my zipper and snap my little snap, I would be sitting there struggling and sweating it out. My mom would be in her bedroom, sitting on the end of her bed, crying because she wanted to come and help. But she knew that I'd already lived 2 years longer than I was supposed to, maybe 3 at that case. And in that case, she said, if he's going to live, I want him to have the best possible life that he can. And so she taught me to try and not give up. We had Henry Ford's quote in our house all the time: "If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." And so that's how I grew up. And I've had a number of encounters where I faced death, from almost falling out of a harness, jumping out of a plane, falling, almost being dropped over the edge of the Grand Canyon, being hit by an SUV and tossed out into 3 lanes of traffic. So I've definitely lived an adventurous life. And it's so funny because so many of my stories are about, okay, this one time when I almost died, you were like, "Oh, not this again." So it's fun. Life is fun. And so when I look at this idea of living fearlessly, I think it's really important for us to look at one thing. Is it fearless or fearful? Right? It's not without fear. It's with less fear than the average person, because of what I choose to focus on. I choose to focus on what it is that I want. That's what I want. I'm going there. That's where I'm headed. And so when the fear rises, I shift from the attention on the fear and put the attention on the target goal. Where do I want to go? What is it that I want? How do I make this happen?
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know PJ and I met a few years ago at a leadership conference, and I was so taken by you, really, with your attitude is always positive, is always upbeat. You light up a room when you come in, and it's like, and people gravitate toward you because you have this great attitude that no matter what life hands you, you're going to get through it. You're going to, like you said, less fearless. You're going to get through whatever is next, and test the waters on stuff that other people might not do as well. So that's one of the things I love about you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Let me just add to that if I can. Thank you so much for the compliment. In 2000, in March of 2019, I caught some kind of virus in Vegas and lost about 85% of my physical strength, about 50% of my lung capacity. And I've only regained a small portion of that strength. So my whole life shifted 3 years ago. And in that shift, I've had to relearn, I've had to look at myself and hold myself accountable for what I actually believe. And can I put that into practice at this stage of my life? So I'm not afraid to live, and I'm still living fearlessly and still living an adventurous life, despite the physical loss of strength and the loss of lung capacity. And so about 10 months after I got sick, I was having lunch with some friends who'd flown in, some old college buddies who'd flown in to spend the weekend with me. And we're having lunch, and both of them were like, hey man, we've been talking about this. What's going on? Like, you don't seem sad or upset or angry or disappointed or afraid. Like, and you're a different person. Physically, you are not the same guy that you used to be. So how is it that you're still able to be upbeat and positive? And I simply said, it's a choice. Feeling bad feels bad. Feeling good feels good. And if I have a choice, I'd rather feel good.
Yeah, exactly. It's a choice.
Yeah.
How you live is a choice. And you're a great example. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eileen, let's talk about you. You have, in the last few years, I don't know, I'm going to let you tell your story. One of the things that impresses me about you, you went through an experience, which I'll let you talk about, that most people would have just like literally laid down and died. And you didn't. You want to talk about that and how you face each day with an attitude similar to PJ, and you just keep going and you keep living and you keep on and on and on. And life is an adventure for you. Talk to me.
Okay, but first I want to say, PJ, I love your story. I don't know if I can top it, but it's awesome. It's awesome to hear about you accomplishing all that you have and having that fearless attitude, which I commend you for. So I just wanted to share that. You're welcome. All right, so my latest life challenge was I was bit by a brown recluse spider, and it nearly killed me. I did not end up in the hospital and I didn't lose any limbs, but it threw me into an autoimmune challenge that really almost grounded me. But I'm still young, and this was about 7 or 8 years ago. And in my mind, I'm like, no, this is not going to consume me. 10 years before that, I had overcome fibromyalgia. So I was like, okay, I'm not doing this again. And I'm going to overcome this as quickly as I can. And I was already in the natural holistic paradigm of doing things as naturally as possible, and meditation and being tuned in and trying to live life fearlessly, living life the way I want to on my terms. So when I got bit by the spider, I was like, no, you're not taking that away from me. And I dove into just doing everything, mind, body, spirit, soul, that I could to keep moving forward, even while in a state of total inflammation and just really very restricted ability and mobility. So I would show up at video productions and plow through it. And it's like an 8-hour ordeal from the time we set up and film and we stay till the end. And I still plugged through that. And so, there's something in us that we can gain that strength. We could bring that strength to the surface and push through any of life's obstacles and challenges. And I've just had enough of those obstacles in my life in different capacities that I know I've overcome those. So anything else that has come after, I'm like, well, I got to do it again, but I'm done. This is the last one. I don't want to do it anymore. So, so that's, where my foundation was in order to get to where I am today.
Yeah. And like PJ, you made a choice to do things differently in order that you might have a better life, because I know that I've read up on this, and somewhere along the line, I heard about this little tyrant, I'm going to call it, this little tyrant called the brown recluse spider, and how, you know, they're not necessarily visible. You know, sometimes they're in corners. And then I saw a movie, you know, in corners where you can't see them. They're underneath the toilet seat. So that was when I first learned about this. I checked everything. I was like, I'm not sitting down there until I see that there's nothing underneath the toilet seat. You know, so just, but I checked everything. I would look around in corners. I would look all over the place. And then I saw this movie about a family that rented an apartment, and for whatever reason, at night, these little suckers would come out and the floor was covered with them. And there was a whole big controversy about whether or not the guy who owned the place was going to let them out of their lease. And I thought to myself, when I learned about what these things could do, you know, that their bite can be deadly, and more than not, their bite is deadly. And then I heard about your story, and I'm like, what makes this woman different? What makes her different? That she got bitten by the spider and the spider didn't kill her. She killed the spider and now she lives a fearless life. You know, so it's really interesting. It's really interesting. It's a choice. It's a choice. So PJ, is there something that you haven't done yet that you want to do? I mean, this list is ridiculous. This list is ridiculous.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I'd really love to do. I just heard recently that Richard Branson was letting civilians fly up in high altitude space, or high altitude space from, it's not really, I don't know, like up high as a jet goes and then back down. So I want to try that.
Like Virgin Galactic and the spaceship that he has, Virgin Galactic. Yeah. Okay.
I want to do that. I also want to surf. I haven't surfed yet. And I definitely think that there's an opportunity in a way for me to do that. I'd love to live in another country. Haven't done that yet. What else? I want to go on safari. Haven't done a safari yet. I want to do like dune buggies from California, the northern part of Mexico, all the way down to Baja. You know, like there's all kinds of things that I'd like to do. I hate to be cold, but I genuinely would love to go into Antarctica. But I hate to be cold. So that's probably never going to happen.
I would want to go to Antarctica, not because I'm afraid of the cold, because I live in Pennsylvania. It snowed a couple of days ago. So, and here we are in the beginning of March. And there was a few years ago, we had 22 inches of snow on March the 23rd. So, I mean, this is Mother Nature's joke on me.
I moved from the Ohio area as quick as I could because of that. The gray skies and the snow and the rain. Oh, it was too much for me. I love the sunshine. I need the sunshine. It works best for me.
Yeah. But like you, I would want to go to Antarctica just to see. There's such an air of mystery around that area of the world. And there are so many things that are said that might be happening there. There's so many things that are said that people are denying what's happening down there. So of course, you know, the curious person in me, the curiosity queen over here, she has to find out what's going on. And that's why I'm such a researcher. It's crazy. But anyway, sometimes I drive myself nuts with this stuff.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation that we could certainly take at some point, because I'm really fascinated in those kinds of things also.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Eileen, what's on your bucket list?
Oh, gee whiz. You know, I've lived a full life. I've done a lot of things, and with coming out of the most recent challenges that the whole world has had, I kind of am looking at just having a quiet life, you know, and enjoying and living fearlessly with doing the things that I enjoy, which is being outdoors, camping, walking along the beach, seeing the sunset, the sunrise, you know, the things that are close to my heart, because tomorrow could be my last day.
Yeah.
And I would like to know that I've lived it, again, on my terms, doing the things that I enjoy by choice, to live it fully. You know, I'm all about living life to the fullest. And what does that mean? probably means something different to everybody, but for myself, it's knowing that I'm fulfilling my dreams, my passions, my visions, and personally waking up every morning being grateful and having a positive mindset that today I'm going to make a difference, whether it's in my own life or in somebody else's life, to be that little spark in the world that somehow spreads out, and I've done my job, and to live in a way that other people can follow in my footsteps and do the same thing.
Yeah. Now I know both of you are people who practice meditation and teach the practice of meditation. And when we come back from the break, which is going to come up very quickly here, I want to talk about how meditation, and you hit one of my buzzwords, Eileen, gratitude. One of my, it's a practice that I have that I use every day. And for people who don't have a gratitude practice, just write down 3 things that you're grateful for in the morning. Just 3 things. Even if it's the fact that you got out of bed that day, be grateful for it. And gratitude changed my life. Meditation changed my life. And having a positive attitude, having the attitude that each one of you have, that you can live through whatever it is that comes before you with a good attitude and a grateful heart, is just what I believe that our audience needs to hear about today. So we're going to go there when we come back from our break, which is coming up right now. You're listening to Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, and this is Conversations That Make a Difference. We'll be back in just a minute.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe-Canavis, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Berg. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Let life flow. I love that. That just kind of like lets everything drop down a notch, right? So, which brings us to the topic of meditation. So, I want to know for people, so in this day and age, there's a lot of noise out there. There's an awful lot of noise out in the world. There's a lot of noise that goes on in our heads. I have this thing I call what goes on in my head the itty bitty shitty committee, excuse me. I just throw them out every once in a while. It's like, all right, enough already. There's enough. And I think, and the reason I bring that to this conversation is because I think that when we have the ability to turn that off and go within and really get silent and learn a little bit about who we are without the noise and how we can show up in life, I think our world, our inner world and our outer world, because of that, changes, and we can literally shut the noise off and choose what we want to hear. And like we said in the beginning, living fearlessly is a choice. PJ, I'm going to go to you first. How does meditation fit into your fearless life? And can you, excuse me, for people who have not meditated, if you're teaching meditation to somebody, what's the first thing you tell them to do?
Well, let's start with how does it fit in? First of all, if we break it down very simply, there are two parts of our brain, the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is designed to keep you alive. And I'm being very general, but it's designed to keep you alive. And the conscious mind is really designed to resolve conflict and problems, so that the unconscious mind knows what it's supposed to do beyond that. And so when we are faced with some kind of adversity or something that brings up some fear or some kind of challenge where we're not sure of ourselves, unfortunately, that unconscious mind kicks in and starts running on the hamster wheel, right? Just running along. And it just won't stop. It won't let that go. It just keeps thinking and ruminating about that thing. And it can create fear. It can create resistance. It can create self-doubt. It can cause your self-esteem levels to drop. And so what meditation does for you is it allows you to recognize, this is my unconscious and this is my conscious. It allows you to create a separation at first. And then once you create the separation, you're able to realize, oh, they're actually still connected, but one might be chattering away while the other chooses just to simply observe it and watch it. And this simple observation of it allows you to realize, oh, there's a stillness here, even though there might still be a chaos here. And so when you realize that you have these two different parts, then you also realize, when you start to practice with them, you start to realize that you have a choice. I can get sucked in here, or I can buy into this and realize that I am the master of my mind, right? I always say, think your thoughts. Don't let your thoughts think you. Think your thoughts. Don't let your thoughts think you. And so when you find this place of meditation, you find this place of stillness. Now, you said silence, and that's what many people think that meditation is about. Finding that silence. Like, how do I find that silence? I can't meditate. I can't get my mind to shut down, right? So what is my advice? Well, first of all, let's pause for a sec. You don't have to get your mind to be silent, right? You certainly don't have to get your mind to be still. If you can, fantastic. Kudos to you. You're up there with the upper echelons of some of the highest levels in Buddhist practitioners. However, if you can't seem to get your mind to be quiet, you can still experience stillness and you can still experience silence, because the unconscious mind might be chattering away and thinking thoughts and ideas come up, and then it interrupts itself. And it's only part of an idea or part of a thought gets out, and then another part gets interrupted, and then another thing comes in, and then another causes a distraction. But in the meantime, the conscious mind can just sit back and watch it. It can observe it. And as it observes there's chaos over there, but not chaos in here, right? So it's about focus. So what is one of the things that I would suggest for somebody who doesn't know how to meditate or feels like they can't get their mind to stop chattering? A, and I'm going to give you A and B, okay? A, don't go into meditation with the expectation to silence your mind. Just let it be. Just literally let it be. Let it run, let it explore, let it be curious, let it wonder. And B, as it does that, you can just simply bring it back to go, oh, hold on, I just want to pay attention to my breath. And then it wanders and you go, oh, hold on, let me just come back to my breath. And then it wanders and then go, oh, wow, I think it's been wandering for like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, wait, come back to my breath. And just come back to your breath. When you come back to your breath, the body will still and become quiet, because what you're doing is training the unconscious mind that over here is what it gets to do on its own, but over here is what we are doing together right now. right? Which is just focusing on the breath. We, meaning the unconscious and the conscious mind, we bring them together as one. One little side note is that if you do feel like your mind is chattering, you can't find silence, then just watch the chatter. Just observe it, just watch it. Just like if you're standing at a crossroads and you're watching cars go by, right? You don't have to jump in every car and go with it. You don't have to jump on every thought and follow the thought or listen to the thought all the way. You can just watch one rise and go away, and another rise and go away, and another rise and go away. Or it's like sitting next to a stream. You can watch things float along the stream, and then they're gone. And you come back to the stream, watch another thing float along the stream, then it's gone. So it's the same with your thoughts. Don't try to make them silent. Just watch them. Just observe them. You don't have to get curious with them, but you can. But if you get curious, you start to get into the like, why, what if, how come, what's going on, what am I thinking? So you get sucked in. It's like getting into the stream and now you're all wet instead of just sitting there observing and going, huh, that's curious. That's interesting. Just be interested. Just watch. Don't add any commentary to it. Don't ask questions about it. If you start to, just stop yourself in the middle. It's very, very simple. It doesn't take a whole lot. The most simple piece, though, is just watch your breath come in, pause, go out, pause. That's all. Very simple.
Thank you. Oh, that's really good. Eileen, do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And as he was talking, I'm like, okay, what can I add to that? Because that's kind of the foundation of any meditation, any kind of meditation you do. But I do have some thoughts to add. And some of the things that I do in my mindfulness meditation, which it's not so much based on the meditation aspect. It's based on the concept of that space that you take yourself to in meditation and how you apply that into your daily life. So that your decision making, you have clarity, the confidence is stronger. It really helps to be able to be in that meditative state and be able to breathe through experiences, even if they're not challenging. Because every day, I forget the number, but we have a zillion thoughts coming through our brain a day, and we're very fortunate our brain has the capacity to weed through. But then people have that monkey mind. I call it the monkey mind. That doesn't, the brain doesn't, it gets complicated and doesn't allow the monkey mind parts to weed through. So then we have to take responsibility to go into that meditative space to where, as PJ was saying, it comes and goes and you allow it to come and go. So one of the things that I would like to add to what PJ recommended is breath work. And I'm going to challenge people to recognize when you're breathing during the day, or if someone asks you to take a breath in and breathe out, do you go, right? Or do you not realize how many times during the day that you're holding your breath? Well, that blocks the oxygen and blood flow, which blocks the ability for thoughts and ideas to be able to come through us in a very fluid flowing way is the way I like to say it. So how can someone do breath work where you can combine what PJ said to the breath work is to just be able to take a breath in from the diaphragm, and on a count of 3, breathe out, and you allow your shoulders to drop with it, and you allow your mind to start to give and release all that monkey mind and all those thoughts that can't seem to find a place to settle down. And if you just do it 3 times is all it takes, you're going to feel lighter and the mind's going to be more clear. So then the information that's coming in, that observation that PJ talked about, you become more aware. It brings you to a higher level of awareness. And when you develop that awareness, then you become more observant of what's really happening. Because when we're in that monkey mind and when we're not in that awareness and we're in that busyness state, we miss what people are saying. We miss what is being brought to us. for the reality of what it is. And our mind twists and turns things, and then we think we hear something or we think we saw something. So with meditation practice, it brings you into a state of centeredness to where your connection with the outer world, as Teresa had mentioned, becomes more synonymous, and it connects to what's really there. And your experiences can be so much more alive and vibrant and joyful and fearless. It's like the questions that may come up with the monkey mind. Am I making the right decision? Is this the right direction to go? Is this who I really want to connect with? And when you practice meditation and you're in that centered state, those questions don't come up because you have a feeling of assurity and confidence to know that you trust where you're taking yourself.
Yeah, I think that all of this, what you both said, actually brings us to a more not just centered, but more present in our lives, and more able to make those decisions that are either, what should I do? And there's all this chatter going on, instead of, okay, let me breathe into this and see what this feels like, So, and I know that for me, if I take that time to take that breath, maybe I'm not going to say something that's going to I'm going to regret later on, or maybe I'm not going to do something that I might regret later on, So I think it brings us to a state of being more present and being able to make the decisions that are good and better, not just good, better for us, without taking the time to really, I'll call it, check in with yourself, because I think that meditation does that as well. And the presence factor, I have to say, I don't know. I don't know that I'll be jumping out of any planes in the near future, but I can tell you that when I'm more present, my first experience with meditation was actually when I was making pottery, because people tend to, and I experienced this with some of my students when I was teaching, people tend to get like this, they see nightmare things happening when you have clay on the potter's wheel, but then you get the experience of ghost, So Demi Moore throwing the pot on Ghost. I tell you, Patrick Swayze never showed up in my studio, and I'm a little disappointed about that. But
well, just let me know when you're going to be in the studio, and I'll show up.
Okay, you got a deal. So what I had to do with my students that were so tense and so afraid to actually put their hands on the clay because it might go all over the place, I had them do breath exercises, and I also had them do exercises to loosen up their hands and let go of the stress that was in their arms and whatnot, so that they could actually be, I'm not going to say one with the clay, but present with the clay, so that they could actually have a successful experience. I think that meditation, if we practice it, will bring us to a point where the experiences that we have will be more fulfilling, which leads to that attitude of being fearless and wanting to go further and wanting to do more. So, what about the gratitude piece? Let's talk about that. Can I add to
that real quick can we pause for 1 second before we get into gratitude?
Yes.
Can I add to what you're saying? I think this is there's a lot here between what you're saying, what Eileen's saying, what I'm saying. Like, we could literally do a weekend on just this, right?
Yes.
And I think it's important to recognize that many people live in their head. And so if you're attempting meditation and you can't get out of your head, one of the most simple things you can do is just start to feel your physical body. Feel your face, feel your head, feel your ears, feel your neck. Now, you don't have to lift your hand up and touch it, right? Just physically feel it as it exists. And then feel your chest and feel your back and feel your tummy and your lower back and your bottom and your legs and your arms. Just feel it. And then shift to a place where you can feel your chest. Come back to your chest and feel if you can feel any kind of energy or life there. And you can even settle from your chest down into the space a little bit below your belly button, or feel that sense in your chest and the energy in your chest, the energy outside of your chest. And even let that settle down into your lower body, just below your belly button. And what happens is, if you can focus your attention on that soft feeling in your body, that light, soft energy, the relaxed state of your physical body, then you're no longer in your head. And all of a sudden, there's this shift that occurs, and there's a stillness in your mind, because the focus and the attention rests inside of you, inside of the physicality of you, not inside the mental map or the mental maze, right? The mind is just a maze that we get trapped in. So shift and sheet the system by shifting out of that and settling into your body. When you settle into your body, it's like you can breathe again naturally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Even if you can't do anything but rhythmic breathing, just exactly like Eileen said, she said 3 breaths. I find that I can do 1 breath now, but just rhythmic breathing. So if you breathe in for 4 seconds and you breathe out naturally for 5 or 6 seconds, then breathe in the next time for 4 seconds again, then breathe out naturally for 5 or 6 seconds again. It's the rhythm. Science has demonstrated that it's the rhythmic breathing, not the deep breaths that people associate with meditation, that are going to help. The deep breaths stretch out the muscles between your ribs, the intercostal muscles, stretches those out so that you can physically relax and allow your breathing to be more natural and deeper. But don't think the deep breaths are what's going to do it for you. It's the rhythmic breathing that will change. It's the settling into your body and then just staying in that state where you feel that sensation. That makes all the difference in the world.
Good stuff. Thank you. And with that, we need to go to a break, and we'll be back with Dream Vision 7 Network and conversations that make a difference. See you soon. Because I think we're supposed to go to a break.
Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
In a world facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust to learn her astonishing secret. Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on Syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back with PJ Dixon and Eileen Bild, and we're talking about living fearlessly. So we just talked about meditation. So somebody listening might say, well, what does meditation have to do with living fearlessly? Some people might think living fearlessly is like running and jumping off the cliff with one of those, what's that new suit that they wear that they can slide for a while?
Yeah,
What is
wingsuit.
Wingsuit, thank you.
I want to do that. It's never going to happen in this body, at least the way this body is currently shaped, but I definitely want to do that.
Yeah, some people may think that that's what it's all about, like doing crazy things, living fearlessly, but I don't think that that's what it is. I think that we have to be in touch with who we are, and I think the meditation really helps to bring us closer to that. I think that we need to live grateful lives, and we have to be positive about everything that we face in order to be able to let go of the fear. What do you think, Eileen?
Absolutely. And to add to all the buzzwords that we're saying, I'm going to say to recognize the miracles that happen every day, because I do believe that there are miracles every day for every person. But because we're too busy in the head, as PJ has said, and we're not paying attention. What I've noticed is we're so lost in the busyness of life that we don't spend enough time, or people, I do, but people don't spend enough time to stop and smell the roses, to really enjoy the moment, being in the now, and recognizing when they've been gifted something as a miracle in their life. And miracles can be the smallest thing or something huge. It doesn't have to be in your face, but enough of a presence in your experience that you recognize that as, oh, that's so cool. I love how that happened. Yeah. And we experience that all the time. And I'm sure, PJ, you do too, with the kind of mentality that you have of living fearlessly and positively. And Teresa, I'm sure you experience miracles from time to time and recognize it. And I'm sure listeners do. But if you don't, think about what we're talking about today. What does it mean to you to live fearlessly? Practice breath work. If you have a monkey mind, a busy mind, practice dropping into the heart and to the center of your being, of who you are, and detach from the external. There's so much noise, there's so much distraction that we're being pulled away from living life, in a fulfilling way. And I think people are tired, they're exhausted, they're angry, they have fear, and there's ways that you can overcome all of that.
Yes.
And regardless of what's going on in the world, regardless of what's going on with the people around you, you can live in a centered, present state that allows you as an individual to be enjoying the life that you have. Because I thought earlier, and I'm going to say it now, life is not a trial run. This is what we have. And as I get older, I get this nudge of, okay, you're here and this may be your end. What are you going to do in this space? And that dotted line. And so that causes me to live fearlessly even more. It's like, okay, what have I not achieved? What have I not done that I really want to? And I need to go for it. I need to push forward. And something interesting that's occurred since I've created this graphic, and I pretty much have it everywhere, I have people coming to me now and say, I want help with my dreams. I want you to help me with my vision. I have this vision, but I don't know how to move it forward. This is my passion, but how do I step into it? And I think because I'm in it. I'm living it. I'm a living, breathing example of it. That somehow some connection between all of us humans, when someone is in a certain state, somebody else picks up on that if that's what they want. And then they say, I want what you have. And PJ, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have listened to your story today and they're like, oh my gosh, if he can do that, I certainly can do it. I want that life that he has, that adventure, that, that fearlessness, because they didn't, or they haven't up to this point done those things, but it's something that they really want to do. So hopefully listening to you today, they'll take that next step and say, screw it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Screw it, I'm going to do it. That's a bumper sticker. There you go,
right? So there's my 2 cents. I'm
thanking you for those 2 cents and then some, because you just put out a wealth of information. Both of you have. And I'm so grateful that each one of you said yes to this invitation. We only have about 6 minutes left, but I do want to touch on the gratitude piece and the positivity piece, but I also want to give you time to be able to tell people how they can get in touch with you, any events that you might be having come up, or anything that you're doing that people can get involved in. I want to be able to give you time to do that as well. So PJ, what's going on in your world?
So as far as how people can get connected to me, it's usually easiest to go to my website, pjswisdom.com, pjswisdom.com. It is my old website. My new one will be up and active, hopefully in about 4 weeks from now. Some of the things that I have going on for people are, I'm building out a program right now for people who experience anxiety and panic attacks. Listen, your life changes.
Say that again, please.
Sure. I'm building out a program right now for people who experience anxiety attacks and panic attacks, right? Because listen, when you start to have anxiety attacks or panic attacks, your whole life changes, and that part of your brain kicks in and wants you to run. It will sometimes cause you to feel like you want to take your own life. It will ruin relationships, and there is zero reason for anxiety and panic attacks. It's a projection out into the future that isn't 100% true. And even if it is true, there's always a way that we can avoid that, right? There's a way that we can either meet that situation and change how we experience it and transition through it, or we can avoid the situation altogether. But often we get wrapped up in our brain. So that's something that I'm building. I'm also have a program for mostly for shy guys called the Hero Project, because for shy guys, I really want them to realize that they have a power that's inside of them. They just haven't let it out yet. And so being fearless, living fearlessly, is not always about having that extra power and drive and overcoming things. Sometimes it's about, let's look at what I can let go of. What can I let go of so that I can naturally step in to that authentic, fearless state?
Okay. I just got a text from this. That's awesome. And people can sign up at on your website, correct?
If they go to my website and they're curious about either the anxiety or panic attack program or the Hero Project, they can just send me a note by going onto my website and finding my address, or they can email me, pj@pjswisdom.com, pj@pjswisdom.com. Just reach out.
Awesome. So we have a question from Rodney, and I don't know who this is for, but either one of you who wants to answer it says, what superpowers do you use against fear? That's a great question.
That's a great question. Yes. I guess I'll say that my superpower is to face it head on, and fear's not part of my equation. So, whatever mask that fear is, it's off. And behind that mask is something greater to be discovered, to be expressed. And so my superpower is to stand in my power, to be authentically me, fearlessly, just to put myself out there as this is who I am. And I'm okay with that.
That's awesome. How would you answer that, PJ?
I would say it depends on how the fear is coming in and what the fear is of. And but I would support what Eileen is saying about coming into your own personal power. And one of the things that I do is I will say, okay, I'm feeling the fear and I'm feeling it in my body, but I recognize it's in my mind. So I compartmentalize the space, the part of my brain that's fearful, and I focus on the things that I want to do. And I find a path around that fear. I say, okay, I still want to do this. So I'm going to act in this way or move in this way so that they can sort of circumnavigate or go around the fear instead of going through the fear. As long as you associate with the fear, it's going to poison you. But if you go, okay, there's the fear, I'm going to sail around it, I'm going to move around it, I'm still very much aware of where it is. Got my eye on that dog that's like eyeing me. I'm watching the lion that's watching me, right? So I'm very much aware of it, but I'm not walking into the place of danger by absorbing the fear into me. I'm walking around it, finding another path, saying that's what I want. I still am going after it, and I'm aware of the fear, but I'm not living with it and carrying it with.
Awesome. Thank you. The two of you are great teachers, by the way. You're wonderful teachers. You. I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much because I'm like, there are times like, I'll just go through it. I'll just like pause right through this and see in the dust, guys, whatever. But then there's a part of me that's like, no, I don't think I want to go there. And so you've given me two options. So I think that we all have a superpower. We all have a superpower. And getting in touch with what that superpower is and how you can use it is a real gift, I believe.
Teresa, there's only two ways that we deal with something. We either let something go so we can move forward, or we power through it with empowered action and we push through it. And sometimes people say, I just can't do it. Well, then let go of something that's holding you back, right? No, I really want that. I don't care what's in my way, then power through. Right? There's only two ways. So if you're finding one way doesn't work, switch. It's usually about letting go that makes the difference for people.
Yeah, absolutely. Let go and let God is a phrase that I've had in my life for a very long time. There are things that I'm not going to be able to handle myself. So I have someone else who handles it for me. So that's an awesome thing. And it's so funny because most of the time, a friend of mine says, if this is not for me, take it from me. And that really gives us an opportunity to release things and not be responsible for them. Let universe, let God take it from you. So, and somehow that works. It works. So I have loved this conversation. Eileen, what's going on in your world? How can people get in touch with you? Anything coming up that you want to talk about? We have about 1 minute left.
Okay, I'll say it quickly. Our website is OTELuniverse.com. And we do Roku channel development. We have our own Roku channels, and we give a platform for, on our Roku channels, we have several all original music. So if there's any musicians who have all original music and you're like an indie musician, you can submit your videos and we'll put them up on our Roku channel. We also have some radio stations that we get, send them the MP3s for airplay. I also have a Partners in Alliance section people can check out. And if they have books, we can feature books. If they have podcasts, we can feature your podcast channel. There's all kinds of options there. And let's see, what else are we doing? There's just so much going on. It's going on. So you can find out all about it on the website. And if you want to email me, it's info@otelproductions.com.
Awesome. Thank you, both of you. You have brought some beautiful light into my life this afternoon, and I really appreciate you. So my words to all those that are listening, if you want to live fearlessly, get in touch with who you are, be grateful, live positively, and live unafraid. And when you're having those conversations with people, let them make a difference in the other person's lives. Don't just be words and conversation, chatter. Make sense and make a difference. And with that, we end this version of Conversations That Make a Difference. See you next time.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on Syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our producer Rachel and to our station owner Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life